Hello and welcome to Awaking Moment podcast. This is Danny Palacio, your host, and I will be sharing this episode with you. And we're going to discuss routines because several people in my life have been in transition, and there's something about when you discover your own inner truth and living a courageous life. You kind of have to have a feeling that you know what you're doing in your day-to-day life. And when you're in transition, it's really hard to um, keep a normal or a repeatable routine that feels good to you, because there's so many things changing. I personally have been going through this myself, where I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, what do I have to do today? And some days I have nothing to do on my calendar, which is odd because I used to work in corporate America where my calendar was full from 8 to 5, sometimes longer. And, being self employed, doing your own thing, changing careers, shifting from kids being in school to kids being home during the summer, kids going off to college, all of these things shift and change how you move through your day. And we're trying to create peace and flow and ease in our lives. So we're going to talk about routines, and this is why they're so important, because they provide stability. They provide an opportunity to really tune in to what you desire. Like, how do you most want to live? What kind of feelings do you want to have during the day? In a previous episode, I asked, how would you like to end your day? How would you know that your day was quote unquote successful? Could you identify a feeling that when you reviewed what you did for the day, you were able to identify that particular feeling? So there's a lot of ways to do a routine. People have asked me, because I'm a very organized person. I love spreadsheets. I love writing posters. I enjoy the creative visual process of making something. So I'm like, I have markers all over. I have poster boards on hand. Even when I do an Excel spreadsheet, I use color. I color code various activities. And you can do that too. I mean, it's up to you as to decide how you want your routine to be documented, but I absolutely think it should be. And you should, I think, a brainstorm session of, you don't have to organize it, but like, what do you have to get done? Like, literally have to get done during the day. And what do you desire to do during the day? And those lists could be different, they could be the same. So take a moment, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, or get out your notes on your phone or write it on your computer, but document, okay, these are the things I absolutely have to do. I have to get up. I have to get dressed. Well, does that require you brushing your teeth, taking a shower? Um, I have a cat, so part of my list is feed the cat. Um, I have to have a cup of coffee in the morning. That's just me. Maybe you're a cup of tea. Maybe you're the warm water with a little bit of Himalayan salt, and maybe some lemon. There's a lot of various types of routines that set your day to be what we think of as good. And so if you set up your day with knowing in the morning, I like to, and just brainstorm. So I'll give you an example. For me, in the morning, I do set my alarm, and I like to stay in bed for 15 or so minutes to just roll around, pet the cat, wake up to my day. I usually welcome myself to the day, like, oh, Danny, new day, here we go. A little pep talk. And then I get out of bed. And I've been changing the routine because I used to get out of bed and take care of the cat. So that means I'm going downstairs right away, taking care of the cat, and then I get busy downstairs. And I start to cook and I start to do dishes and I just all kinds of stuff. It wasn't working for me. I felt very rushed and very like unsure about how my day was going to flow. So I've changed the routine. Um, and again, this is to give you permission to change the routine. Get it so it works for you. So now I do wake up, I spend my 15 minutes, I pay attention to my cat because she loves the morning. And I then go into the bathroom and I brush my teeth and I pick out clothes and kind of just know that when I come back upstairs, I'll take a shower, I'll get ready, I'll put the clothes on. So that helps. So now I set that up and then I go downstairs, take care of the cat. I make the coffee and I bring the coffee back upstairs with me on most days now because I like to get ready. I spent the pandemic not getting ready, wearing my hair in ponytails, um, barely changing out of my, I think we all did, out of my like sleep clothes, because we weren't going anywhere and we really didn't have to see anybody. And so if you were on calls, not everybody was on Zoom video, but we were all connected somehow. So that's just an example of the morning. Here is some concrete things to think about. What part of your day do you need and want a routine? Getting up, is there a routine? Morning, is there a routine? Midday, because a lot of us take a lunch. And if you work a regular job with an employer, you usually have the lunch hour to yourself. So what do you want to do midday? Evening, this could be returning from work and coming home, or this could be ending your day and what do you need to do in the evening? And then winding down, which is maybe for me, it's about 30 minutes before I'd like to go to bed. And I like to come back up to my room. I like to relax. Again, I pet the cat. She's sleepy by then. I brush my teeth. I put in my night guards. And most times I wash my face, not every night. It's not a mandatory thing for me. I know it is for some. So think about that. But I like to put things in chunks, time periods. And I like to know that in that time period, I am going to have these things. I may not do them all, but that's because I like multiple choice. so, um, so cater to yourself because it's your routine and it's your life. What else have people asked me? I wrote some questions down. Does it need to be written down? It absolutely does. You can't keep it in your head. Like you won't remember it. And you will, if you remember it, you might remember it way past the time you said you wanted to do something. So write it down for sure. Whether it's, on a piece of paper, whether it's on a computer and you print it, absolutely. And post it. This is my suggestion. Post it in multiple places in your house, in your life, So I usually post when I start something new like this, I usually post it in the bathroom and then I'll post it downstairs in the kitchen because these are places I spend quite a bit of time. I will post it in my workroom. And I've even been known to get out the stickies and write down reminders and put them in the fridge, on the TV, in the car, because as humans, I think we're programmed to forget. That's the only thing I can logically, from my own experience, come up with. Like, why do I forget something that I really, really want to do? I think we're just programmed to. So we need reminders. Some of you will want to set alarms. Everyone's got their phone with them, right? So you can set an alarm. You can set multiple alarms. There's, the different watches have alarms. Computers have all kinds of devices for calendaring, and you can make an alarm out of that. And that's another point. I have an online calendar. I used to use the Apple calendar, but I don't anymore. I went to a Google calendar, partly because my sister and the family use it to help keep us all in alignment as to who's doing what and where. So I went to the Google Calendar, and I've really started to enjoy it. And yes, I have my wake up times blocked out. I have my evenings blocked out and my wind down blocked out. I did not block lunch out because I have a much more flexible schedule now. So again, whatever works for you, but think about it. This whole episode is to try and give you some ideas. If you've been wondering, how do I set up a routine? How do I honor myself? Go back to the slow down meditation and use that as a jumping off point. Slow yourself down, breathe, feel into your body. Ask what your body most needs. How can you honor your desires? What would enable you to want to follow this new routine? I mean, you can set up a whole new routine and be like, I'm never going to do that. I've done that. I've like, okay, I should do this and I should do that. And I need to do this and this has got to happen. And I'm going to, like, I set the craziest goals and self commitments to myself, knowing that I was like cuckoo, like that's not going to ever happen. There are some apps that if you want to start a new habit, you can put it in an app. I believe it's free. I'm trying to remember the name of it. If I remember it, I'll put it in the summary notes below. And oh, I know. This was the other thing I was thinking about. And I actually did a little bit of research on this one. So there used to be a saying in our world that, it takes 28 days to create a habit. So that's so not true. They must have done more studies, more science, more research on this. But it depends on a lot of different things. And so when I looked up and I asked how many days does it take to create a new habit, anywhere from, get this, 18 to 256 days to create a new habit, one new habit. And I was like, whoa. So I kept reading, I kept digging in to figure out what that meant, because that super surprised me. I did not expect that it was that large of a range. And on average, they said 66 days. So we're looking at 2 solid months to get this into a natural flow. So that means you've got to be diligent. You've got to remind yourself that over and over and over again, which is why I have multiple color of stickies. Why I use color, because, and it's so funny. I can make a super colorful like poster, and within a week or two, it's just background noise. I don't even see it. So then I have to move it around. So play the games with yourself so that you're successful, because I really want you to feel like you can set up a routine. You can brainstorm all the things that need to get done and things you want to get done. Figure out how you're going to organize and where you're not going to organize. And always give yourself, if you're the type of person that is militant and you at 8:05 and then at 9:15, like if you're that specific, I want you to create a little spaciousness in yourself and be like, it's okay, plus or minus 5 minutes. Give yourself that wiggle room. Things always happen. They always happen. We cannot live our lives not our normal lives. I mean, I in my head, I just heard myself, well, if you were on a military base and everybody was committed to that schedule and it's discipline. So that's another way to look at this, is discipline. Okay. So maybe you can document and get your schedule in a routine by the minute. I'm not that type of person. So use an app, use the calendars, use reminders, set alarms so that you are aware that you are trying to create a new routine. And what they said about how long it takes to create the habit is it's the level of complexity of the new habit. And then it's the individual person and their personality. So I'm pretty gung-ho. I get super excited about new stuff. I love to get myself organized. So I think I'm a pretty willing participant, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to remember, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to always want to do it. And so I've had to work through some of that stuff. Like, well, why don't I want it when I said I did? And maybe that day I'm just really, really tired, or maybe I don't deem it as required or necessary. So you're going to have to work through some of your own things to ensure that you can set up a routine. And the other thing I will share and suggest for you is to share your new routine, your new flow through the day with your loved ones, with the people that are in your life, right? If you work for a company, you often share with your coworkers and your manager, or if you're working on a project, the people that you're working on the project with, oh, today I'm going to be blah, 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 blah. I'm going to take a long lunch. I've got a dental appointment, like you share those things with your coworkers because they need to know if they can get a hold of you or if you're available for something. So do the same in your personal life. Like, share with the person that you live with or the people that you live with that you're going to start this new routine. It's going to take some time. You wanted to share the information, not so that they can, remind you, hey, you said you're going to do this. Are you going to do that? You said you wanted to, you know, go on a walk now. Are you going to go on a walk? I don't see you going on a walk. Why haven't you gone on that walk? Okay, none of us need that unless you ask for it. If that feels supportive to you, then definitely ask if they would be willing to remind you to set those little nudges. And all of it's okay. So now that we've talked about routines, why they're important, how they could potentially help us, how we could potentially set them up, let's talk a little bit more about commitments, self-commitments. I've mentioned this before, but we're trying to build trust with ourselves. And throughout our lives, we've probably committed to things and then didn't follow through. And that breaks trust with ourselves. We don't actually believe ourselves over a course of time when we say we're going to do something and then we don't do it. And there may be very valid reasons why you didn't do it. I feel like I have valid reasons as to why I didn't do some things. But I have been more diligent about double checking the commitment. Like, I remember I was trying to get up every day and go for a walk first thing in the morning without my coffee. Like, that is insane. Like, I don't even know why I thought that. So I want to bring this up to you because check the reality of what you think you can commit to. My reality was, in the fall and winter, there's no way I'm going outside in the rain, in the cold to go for a walk. I thought it was because I didn't have the right clothing, the right shoes. Bought it all, never used it. In the spring and summer, it's easier for me to do that. I definitely need to drink my coffee before I go on the walk because I'm not really awake. Like, there's something for me about drinking that cup of coffee that kind of says, oh, the day has started. And I've been shifting that a little bit, but I want you to check yourself. Look at your schedule, your routine, and really ask yourself, is this realistic for me? Can I really get this done? And maybe it's not every day in the beginning. Maybe you work yourself up to every day, because I like to do that too. I'm an overachiever. And so I'll say every single day. And what it really turns out is maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And that used to make me feel really bad about myself. So I don't do that to myself anymore. I'm very realistic. I ask my body, do you want to go for a walk now? And if it, and I'm learning to listen to my body even more than I have in the past. And maybe this is a new concept for you, but if we listen to our bodies and we become body partnered um, with ourselves, uh, there's a beautiful relationship that can happen. You can build a lot of trust with yourself. You can start to believe yourself when you honor your nudges, when you honor what feels good for you. And so it's a really beautiful, gentle, um, kind way to live. I believe it's always possible, but I understand why some people don't think it is, because you've got commitments, you've got children, you've got, a super hyper stressed out, crazy busy work life. Um, maybe you're dealing with an illness that some days you're not going to do anything, and other days you're going to be totally ready. You've got the energy. Be gentle, be kind with yourself. Let's see, what else can we talk about when it comes to routines? Always give yourself permission to change the routine. Just write it down, print it out again, start again. Every day is a new beginning. Every moment actually is a new beginning. Don't get harsh on yourself and be like, I didn't do it and now I'm a failure. No, you're not a failure. That routine, for whatever reason, is a learning process, and you've got to be in a willing learning mode when you start something new. Um, you have the wiggle room to own your routine and do it the way that it works for you. I've even, in my own process, Mondays are very exciting for me. I like Mondays a lot. And so Mondays tend to be a very productive day for me. Um, and Thursdays also feel like a very productive day for me. Um, I'm not sure why, but that's just me. And I just go with it. So I know that I can get a lot done on those 2 days. So I plan more for those 2 days. Um, Tuesday, Wednesdays are really kind of up in the air for me. Sometimes I'm down with my sister. Sometimes I'm here. Um, I try to make appointments on those 2 days because they tend to be a little bit more flexible. So think about these things when you're looking at your routine and understand that there are things that will come up. There are patterns that we have that we need to learn to honor, and build out our routine with flexibility. Um, and if you're very disciplined and you are black and white, gonna do it, not do it, like it, don't like it, very much like that, then go to town, have fun, get that discipline on paper and start your new routine. Okay, so I think I'm going to end here. I will put some questions and some outlines in the summary below on Spotify and in YouTube. And I'll link to some apps because I know for sure I used an app. And you can actually, the app I used, you can share it with someone else for some accountability, or your partner. So, or your child, where you agree that you're going to start these new habits, and it allows the other person to provide some support, and I like that. And always be kind and gentle with yourself. You're very deserving and you're perfect just the way you are. And sometimes it's really nice to have a flow that creates ease, that creates a groundedness of like, I know what I'm doing every day. And particularly when you're in transition, when life has shifted, maybe you left a job, maybe, like I said, maybe it's the kids, going to school, not going to school. It can be a lot of different things, but take a look at your life. If a routine feels good to you, maybe your routine is literally 3 things, right? Like maybe you're so in the habit of waking up, showering, brushing your teeth, getting dressed, and then going downstairs. Awesome. if it works, it works. I have a little bit more flexibility, and so I've shifted that, like I mentioned. But just be curious, and be willing. And I look forward to hearing how you set up your routines. If you set up a routine, or if this topic is like, you're crazy, Danny, that's okay too. Not everybody needs a routine, but I thought I'd share my process and give you some of the things I've learned along the way. So have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you choose to do this, have fun and enjoy the process. All right. Take care, everybody.